What it do, what it do, what it do. They gonna feel me family. Welcome back to another episode of They Gonna Feel Me, where you have authentic conversation by authentic men. You have now made it to episode 12 of the episodes of the show, whatever you want to call it. You got your boy Chris. Y'all see the name. We're gonna get into it. We got the boy Reese. Al C, because he's the master of the Squid Game. And we also got Big Rob in the building, the bodyguard. You feel me? We got an excellent show for y'all. But as we state in the beginning all the time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure that notification bell is turned on so that way when we post the video, y'all know. And don't forget to share so your friend can see it, your friend can see it, your other friend can see it, your grandma can see it. We talking about R. Kelly, hide your kids, hide your wife. We about to get into it. Let's get into these topics, big dog. So we starting off with none other than Robert Kelly himself. That sucker, boy. So as you know, in the news, if you haven't seen it on the news, you've seen it on Facebook news, Twitter news, social media, anywhere, right? He has been found guilty on multiple charges in multiple states as well. It's not just child pornography. I think it's racketeering as well, if I'm not mistaken. So he faces he's facing the rest of his life in prison. So we're going to talk about pretty much how we feel about it. And, you know, do we think the verdict is fair? Because from what I've seen from a lot of people, people think that the verdict is not fair. I don't see how. But you guys tell me how you feel about the situation.
Robert Kelly found guilty. Duh, nigga. Like, I mean, like, how do we make it this far and all of a sudden people are surprised that he was going to get convicted? The only thing that really surprises me about this whole thing is like hearing various pieces of like the trial, just how bad it really was. I thought just occasionally he was knocking down little 14-year-olds or something, but in actuality, this dude is touching all the kids, beating all the women, like, you know, just a monster, you know, like gorilla pimping all kinds of women, and like, I don't know. It's if you had asked me whether or not I thought the verdict was fair, like, yeah, he's guilty. He's guilty. He throw him underneath the jail, you know. Like, I mean, really, it ain't even about like whether or not the verdict is guilty. I'm sorry, the verdict is unfair. Like, will his sentence be fair? You know, like that's what remains to be seen. Did this dude get like 5 years? You know, like and a slap in the wrist, and like he back in enough time to do concerts before 2030, then, you know, we got a problem, you know. Like, so just saying, that's all I got to do for now.
I really think, and you said all you thought was he was just had like a few underage girls here or there, but I watched Surviving R. Kelly, and it was like a multiple episode documentary when it came out, and it was like really expansive and detailed on what was going on, and it was it was really sickening, but it lets you know the depravity that was going on, and it's so many different layers to this story. But the first layer, since we're just talking about the verdict right now, I mean, there's a dearth of information, proof, evidence, testimony, dude. I mean, doggone, Stevie Wonder could have saw that this guy was guilty of sin. I mean, that's.
And I think that's probably like my fault, because I never did watch that show. Like, I don't know, it was something about it that was so sensationalized. I felt as if, like, even though like it was a platform, I suppose, for the victims to talk about, you know, their issues, it also was kind of like, it just felt as if like people were getting, you know, shine or bread off of it in this weird way. I feel as if like it was less about, I mean, it was trauma porn, for people who want to hear about what R. Kelly did. But at the same time, it just felt as if some of the people on the show was like, but y'all let it happen. And like now all of a sudden it feels as if like you're guilty as long as like, you get an opportunity to have this show, this platform, this opportunity to showcase yourself. It felt like a showcase for them, telling their story as opposed to like, 100% being about condemning him. I don't know. It just didn't feel right for me. Like other people can feel differently, but it didn't feel right for me. That's why I didn't watch the show.
I think. Oh, you go.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, I watched it as well. And I think my biggest issue was it was a lot of people that kind of helped him facilitate the things that he was doing, and that was the biggest issue I had.
He had a lot of people in his corner that knew about a lot of this stuff.
A lot of people that knew about it. A lot of
especially
people
the Aaliyah situation
that was aiding him, that was sweeping it under the rug, and helping him get away with these things. And it's just crazy the lengths people will go to get a little bit of money. You know what I'm saying? Or
to make sure their pockets are maintained.
Or to make sure their pockets are maintained, or even like when they're being fearful, when they're afraid of a situation. You know what I'm saying? It's little girls involved. I believe sex trafficking is involved in sex trafficking, and
they say little boys are involved too.
When we think about all the things that are going on today and how big of an issue sex trafficking is, girls and even boys getting kidnapped in these foreign countries, it's crazy to think that he's had his hand in stuff like this. And people still support him and listen to his music and are talking about, he shouldn't be sentenced to life in prison. No, throw that man up under the jail. You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing that's killing me. It's like people trying to make it a black versus white thing as opposed to it being just a sick ass individual thing. You know what I'm saying?
And that was kind of one of the things that I was going to talk about that I saw on social media. I can understand pieces of that, but that still doesn't absolve him from the actions that that he took. And many times, we always play the what about game. You'll find somebody that you can kind of try to compare, because the hot thing on social media now is like the meme of Elvis Presley. Look at Elvis. He married Priscilla started talking to Priscilla when she was underage, or blah blah blah, and blah.
Look at Brittany Renner.
Okay. It is. I mean, it is what it is. But you can go through the various ways if you want to research that and not just take memes at face value, because we can go down the list and list a whole bunch of entertainers that then talk to young girls. Woody Allen. You know what I'm saying? He was super out of order. You know what I'm saying, for the stuff that he did. But the thing is, forget that. We talking about you.
Yeah.
That's like, when you was a little kid and you got in trouble for something, you were like, well, LC did it too. Hold on, bro. Hold on. We ain't talking about LC. We talking about you. We talking about you right now. You know what I'm saying? So the spotlight is on you. Hey, what the mother cats were doing, I'm not condoning what they were doing. It's wrong. Wrong is wrong. If a girl underage, leave the girl alone. Leave the little kids alone, you little pedophiles. Leave them folks alone.
Exactly.
But you know what? This is how I feel. And maybe this is kind of how, I guess we as people of color, we understand that people of color are a lot of time railroaded by like the legal justice system, and we don't get fair trials. A lot of us get unfair sentences and all this. There's these paradigms that basically, these structures that basically work against us in a lot of these situations. And I think that they're trying to apply that formula to R. Kelly. Maybe because they're more focused on his history as a musician more so than his history as a predator. And I'm gonna be honest. There's times when, as Black people, I wish that we could try our own people. I wish we could have our own separate, legal justice system where we like treat people the way we want to be treated and this, that, and the third. But we don't live in that world, and so many people be out here talking about like free this person, like free my boy, getting names airbrushed on shirts. When in actuality, maybe that person
deserves to be in the fucking position that they in.
They have to be in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
To these people out there that basically are so adamant about like trying to support this man because he made the album 12 play. Like, honestly, it's past just F R Kelly, it's F you. You like, your attitude, your behavior is enabling people you're enabling people. You're enabling other predators out there that think that they can get away with it. You're enabling other people who got like affluence and influence and power and money to like feel as if like they should be able to do whatever they want to do, and then they can throw money or talent or whatever at the situation rather than be held accountable for their actions. Like, you need to stop it. Not just R. Kelly, not just other pedophiles out you, but you, the public out there who basically ain't punishing people who deserve to be punished.
I think that's my biggest thing. It's like, I kind of felt like when the verdict and everything came out, and we already knew he was going to be found guilty in the beginning anyway, but I feel like when the verdict and everything came out, we were going to take it and run with it as, oh, it's a black versus white thing, and I really don't feel like it should be handled that way. And then looking at the amount of people saying, oh, well, where were the kids' parents at? The kids' parents got to be held accountable. I mean, like, I just happen to sit back and think about the times that me and my brother would come home. My parents wouldn't get home until 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon from working. We didn't go out doing none of that dumb shit. But I mean, can you imagine if your idol, someone that you idolize, look at the kids now, how they idolize so many of these people. If you see Lil Wayne, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan at your age pull up to your school, I guarantee you, if a man like, hey, look, bro, come with me, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, you going to follow, right or wrong. So How can you hold a naive 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old accountable for something like this? Their minds ain't grown enough for that, but that nigga mind grown enough to know that he shouldn't be doing this.
That's a great point. That's a great point that you brought up. And actually, I was gonna bring this part up because this adds another layer to it, because like I said before, this whole R. Kelly thing is complex because it's so many pieces to it. And some of the stuff that we have to look at in the African American community, because Reezy, since you said you watched Surviving R. Kelly, and I don't know.
I watched it as well.
And okay, Chris, you watched it too. One of the things that kind of struck me at the beginning that I didn't know about, and once again, this is not letting him off the hook, but I didn't know he was abused. I didn't know he was abused as a kid coming up, and that's one of those things in the African American household, and just in the household period. We have certain things in the African American community that is like the dirty little secret, about that older uncle or whatever, that older family friend playing around with little kids or whatever, and the little kid will say something to a parent, and the parent like, stop, they ain't do that, he ain't do, shut up, stop, and basically protecting that uncle or that aunt, or what I'm saying, or that older family friend, dad. And we've already continually discussed the mental health aspect that a lot of times we as the Black community don't fully address. But I think there's something to be said for too, his family letting him down. His family letting him down, and the system letting him down. Once again, though, it's not an excuse, because at some point when you have all that fame, you have all that money, you have to realize, hey man, I got a problem.
And I think even in the I don't know if y'all watched it all, but didn't he even decide that he wasn't gonna do it anymore, but he couldn't stop or something like that? Wasn't it something like that? Or maybe I'm thinking of another show. Maybe I'm throwing another show in there. But I know it was a lot of parts to that. And I actually watched I watched Surviving R. Kelly when it first came out back in 2018, 2019, when it first was airing on Lifetime. So I was watching the episodes fresh. And we was talking about it at work. So I could have sworn it was something like that he said, but maybe I'm thinking about something else. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but then when you spoke to about him used to driving up on junior high, you know, on the campus, on the school. Just think about that, man. You are a Chicago legend. You pulling up, you know, your you in the public announcement, that vibe just hit. You know what I'm saying? That music is on the top charts. You pull up on a school campus, and they thinking like, "Hey, it's a legend." Blah blah blah. He here for to inspire us. He's here to cheer us up or whatever. But all the time, you got a totally different other motives for pulling up on campus.
I mean, just think about it, bro. We all knew that Demetria, that damn Bonquisha, whatever her name was, that was getting picked up by that dude in the box Chevy or the bubble eye Chevy that was clearly 23, 24 and graduated 4 years earlier, and we talked about it. And she was willingly hopping in that car. So just imagine if R. Kelly pull up in a damn Range or a damn Lexus, and you get picked up by R. Kelly. You look like the queen in this mug. So I'm just saying, like, that's what I don't understand. How can you hold a teenage mind accountable for something like that and still try to portray? And I know this isn't in one of the topics, right? Now, I know we got another topic we're going to get to, but just like a sidebar topic, we talked about cancel culture all the time. And I know it's not going to happen within everyone in our community, but do you feel like this is a cancelable offense, so to say? Because we cancel Bill Cosby, we're so quick to cancel other major brands for doing stuff like blackface and all this other stuff. But when we got somebody when we got somebody who we idolized as the king of R&B, and we see the flip and everything, like, can we see how it kind of goes hand in hand with supporting celebrities when they shouldn't be supported? And should this dude be canceled?
Well, he's been canceled. Like, I mean, let's be real. We ain't about to hear "I Believe I Can Fly" in any, milk commercials anytime soon or something like that. You know, you ain't about to hear like Gigolo, like, be at the back of like some Target commercial or something. Like, I mean, his profitability in that way is cancelable. In which case, like, I feel as if like the cancel point, it really kind of falls on us. I think this other conversation ends up coming into whether or not can you separate the man from the scandal, at least the art from the artist. And it's kind of like, at first I was very adamant against it, and part of me kind of retracted a little bit, but I have to feel steadfast in completely canceling him on every level, mostly because it's like those streams still put money back in his pocket. And as we can see, him with money and affluence, like, is a dangerous thing. We don't know what he's capable of doing or what people like that are capable of doing when you take away all their resources in order to do the monster stuff that they do. Rob talking about levels, and to all this, it wouldn't even be so many layers to this onion if we would have taken care of him in the 90s. Like there's so many people that could have escaped being hurt if we would have just handled this appropriately the first time. And then this wouldn't even have to be some sort of polarizing conversation to be held within the community. He would have been handled then, and he would have gotten maybe even the treatment or the counseling that he needed. I do believe he needs counseling, but we never got to that. Instead, it's all punishment and judgments now. And that's a lot of people are to blame.
So that I mean, that goes to another question, because Chuck D had an interesting response, and a lot of people jumped on him, because a lot of times we are emotional. We're emotional, and we suffer a lot of times from groupthink. You know, or like a herd mentality. Go with what the whole pack is expressing. And he made I can't remember if it was a tweet, or I think it was a tweet, but in essence, what his tweet was getting at was, at what point do we start to try to rehabilitate people? You know what I'm saying? At what point do, because I remember, we talked about it shows ago when we were talking about the baby. And this could be a cautionary tale for other people, because way before Aaliyah, Aaliyah was a blinking red light. They knew about him in Chicago. There are people that I know that say, "Hey man, we knew about Chicago. We knew about him in Chicago way before Aaliyah." And that speaks to Al C's point, where if it could have been handled at an earlier point in time, maybe a lot of damage wouldn't have even been, a lot of catastrophic damage wouldn't have even occurred if it was properly handled. But once again, it goes back to what we talk about with celebrities and accountability. And many times, when you are supremely talented, people will put up with you, and actually they will insulate you, because they look at you as the golden ticket. Like, hey, this person is my way out. This person is finna get us rich. And if I can stay on that payroll long enough to make this bread, to put food on my family table, I'm going to do whatever I can do to keep this Negro or Negrette out of trouble at any cost. And it looks like that's what they were doing, because like on their show, you had some people like a road manager, a former studio people, like, dude, I know you saw something, and now you sitting there like, well,
hush mode.
Now you want to talk, almost like, with the folks that we're seeing now come forward talking about, hey, President Trump this, President Trump that, President. Hold on. When you had a position to do something, you didn't do nothing. But why you coming out now talking all tough about him? You had the opportunity to stand up and stop a lot of people from being abused. But you decided, no, I ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna keep getting these checks.
Yep. Power of a dollar. Money, money will make people
cash rules everything around me.
Money make people do some things that go against their morals, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's kind of sad, especially something this egregious. Yes, he's been canceled, but I still feel like it's a lot of us that are not willing to
cancel him completely.
Music, cancel him completely, which is just a shame. I get you got ties to him, and your childhood, or maybe you may have even made a baby to R. Kelly. But at the end of the day, this dude has done some of the worst things you can do as a human being, and to me, he should be canceled completely. I don't even want to hear R. Kelly's song. I don't give a damn if it's Step in the Name of Love. If I'm at my damn wedding, my anniversary, don't play that shit. Cut that shit off. I'll tell you to cut that shit off right in the middle of my anniversary. Cut that shit off. I don't want to hear it.
I will say.
What about at a graduation? If you hear, I believe I can fly.
If I ain't got control, I'm about to walk out.
No.
About to walk out.
Mm-mm.
Sorry.
I ain't even playing around my grandma. I'm scared for her too. Ain't no telling what this boy gonna do at all.
I will admit, Seems Like You're Ready, which is a terrible song when you think about the implications of it.
Yeah, exactly.
It became my favorite song when I saw play it.
You finna ask the question I think you finna ask.
Another point that I wanted to make, when Frank Ocean came out and he said that he was gay in the beginning, before we really accepted it, we couldn't listen to his first album the same because we was like, you talking about a man. I know what he talking about. How can you not go back and listen to this?
Listen to this album.
Seems like you're red. What the fuck you mean?
Bro,
Seems like you're red.
The nigga called himself the Pied Piper of R&B. And if you know the story of the Pied Piper, the Pied Piper, he seduced kids.
Bruh,
okay? He
that's
seduced
what
motherfuckers
want to talk about the Illuminati.
The nigga been subliminally telling y'all who he is forever. Y'all know what I mean.
Boy,
that S word.
Man. But look, we can go all day on this topic, but at the end of the day, all I got to say, I hope your ass dropped soap. I hope your ass dropped soap. Yeah, I hope your ass dropped soap. On to the next topic. We talking about your boy Dez Bryant. So if you don't know, this week, Throw Up the X, he came out on a show and on another, not really a podcast, but kind of like a podcast show.
Yeah, it's a podcast.
It's a podcast as well. Okay. So yeah, he came out on the podcast and he pretty much sent a shot straight to Colin Kaepernick, saying that, it's no disrespect. He respects him, but pretty much saying that Colin Kaepernick didn't create any jobs for anyone. He didn't do really anything special. He hasn't heard from him. What's up? Which caused Jamel Hill to go in and comment on him as well, pretty much coming at Colin Kaepernick about the whole Black Lives Matter situation and everything, saying that he has not done anything for his community. He did it all as a publicity stunt, pretty much is what it sounds like he was saying. I feel like he hating. What y'all feel like?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I told y'all, and it's going to sound once again like Rob.
He was on your team too, big dog. So
I mean, it is
coincidence.
So you can tell that I'm gonna keep it real though. Even though it is my, a cowboy in '88 and all that good stuff, but I got to go. I'm about to get a T-shirt made, man. Stay in your lane, bro. I'm sorry. Stay in your lane. Because the thing about this, you sound like a hater. I didn't want to say that, but you sound like a supreme hater. Because if you really want to be real,
he's still by his point too now. If you
really want to be real about it, I can remember when Dez was still playing. And Colin had the take a knee protest that was going on. I remember them asking Dez about taking a knee, and his response was, "I got to feed my kids." So I'm like, hold on now. When in the height of his protest, when they asked you, what were you gonna do? You were like, I got to feed my kids. Basically. But now that you're not playing, and now that you don't have the lights shine as brightly on you, and you don't have the same platform, now you want to get on a popular podcast and call him out. Because I was watching the episode, and it really almost came out of nowhere, because he made the comment. He's like, I said I was gonna say this.
Yeah, he went complete left field with that one.
That was his comment. He was like, it just came out of nowhere because they were having a general conversation, and he was like, man, I got to say this because I always said I was gonna say this if I had an opportunity, and that's when he proceeded to come out
say
of
that
mouth.
Dumb shit.
Well, you said it, but that's when he proceeded to come out of his mouth sideways about Kaep. And as we've seen always, when somebody comes out sideways and somebody gets at them and corrects them, a lot of times they double back. They try to double down on what they said.
They can't understand what the other person is saying. Fight for their comment.
That pride, man. That pride is a big thing, because we got an audience on Twitter, and we don't want to look like we don't know what we're talking about, when in actuality we don't know what we're talking about. So it's just a bad look, man. Just stay in your lane. If you didn't want to be an activist, then just continue doing what you're doing, and leave Kaep name, out your mouth.
I mean, doing what you're not doing, which is working. Taco Bell hiring hoes. And Taco Bell ain't hiring. Maybe
let them know
on the other side at the Pizza Hut, the Taco Bell Pizza Hut. Those Johns, you can work there, Dez. Kiss my ass. Sorry. How about that? Leave Kaep name out your. I ain't never defended a Kappa like this ever in my life, but like this alpha is defending that one. Kiss my ass, Dez Bryant. You sound like the dumb jock that should have flunked out, but you happen to lead your team to like a championship. Kiss my ass, stay in your lane. I can't take anybody seriously that would actually endorse Kanye West for presidency. Clearly, you ain't got all your mental faculties, so go to your local workforce and find you a job at like a Ross, being like, security. You could be like asset control or something like that. You're big and strong. You'll be good for that job. So like, F you. We got to clean this show up. So F you. All right.
Oh, please. Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I don't understand. Like, where is this Kaep hate coming from? The man lost his job like behind taking a knee and becoming an activist. And where was you at? You talking about jobs and shit. Where was you at when he lost his job? Why weren't you out there fighting for him?
Wasn't trying to get him on the Cowboys, boy.
Stayed in the NFL. Like, so for you to come out sideways out your mouth talking about job opportunities, what have you done? What have you done? You ain't done shit but throw up the X. You was washed up when you went to Baltimore. Your ass couldn't play. Now you want to you're trying to find an opportunity to be on, be in media or something. That's probably why you pulling this stunt, bruh. Nobody checking for you, my dog. Like, Kaep. What Kaep did was outstanding. Everybody appreciates what he did, and nobody is siding with you at the end of the day. So just leave it alone, my boy. Like that's that. It is what it is. I just don't. I don't understand Dez. I don't understand why he's talking about Kaep. It just seems like some random ass tirade to me. Ultimately, so
it's just crazy because it seems like, man, a lot of these dudes are mad because this dude isn't looking for a publicity stunt. He like, I can, to be honest, I can fully respect Kaep because he wasn't, to me, if anything, he wasn't doing everything that he did for glitz and glamour and lights, camera, action. He actually stood by what he did. People were mad at him because he didn't show up to the tryouts and he wanted to host it at somewhere where he wanted to host it at. No cameras, no this, that, and the third. Only the people that he wanted there. He didn't want your people there. He didn't want ESPN and all them people there. I want the people that I want there. Put out the footage that I want. You know what I'm saying? He's not all in the camera trying to do it for likes and this, that, and the third. Like a lot of other people are doing when we go to these marches and we go to all this stuff that they say Black Lives Matter and they say they stand behind certain things, but then they go behind the scenes and do what they do. So, I feel like it's a sucker move to call out one of your boys, one of the people you claim are your boys, and then you started off with, this ain't no beef, this ain't this and that, but then you say some disrespectful like that. That's something you could have called my jack on. You could have hit my jack and let me know, hey, look, bro, I don't appreciate what you did. I feel like you could have went this direction, and we could have hashed it out as men as opposed to you, getting on a podcast and bringing my name up. Ain't nobody talked about me in months. You feel me? Y'all talking about COVID and all this other stuff, and then you got to go and bring me up. What do I have to do with that entire topic that you were talking about in the first place? I had absolutely nothing to do with that topic. You know what I mean? So
then the thing about it though is like that you were actually wrong because
exactly.
I'm not the biggest Jamel Hill fan, but she actually brought the facts and like he did create he created this and he raised so much. I mean, so many millions of dollars, and created these things in the community, and was actually giving back to the community through various philanthropic initiatives or whatever. So he was actually putting in work. It wasn't just the fact that he was just walking around with a billboard saying, "Hey, you guys, look at me. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Whatever." Like, no, it wasn't. It wasn't all about that. And the other thing about it too is, he was saying, I called you or whatever, and you didn't call me, and you didn't call me back. If you know anything about Dez, now me being a Cowboy fan, and it might be different because you can't sometimes equate the person on the field to the person in real life. But Dez was always known to be a loose cannon, an emotional person that acted before he thought. And kind of, if you're thinking strategic, in protest and organizing certain things of that nature, it's a certain way you want to go about and you want to handle your business. And you got to ask yourself, do you want loose cannons right now on your team? That you want? I mean, if you're organizing something and you're trying to get something accomplished, do you think you would want a Dez Bryant on your team right now at that critical point in time? I don't think I would. You saw the one guy that really stepped up and helped him at the time was Eric Reed, the safety. Who was real red, who was a guy who seemed loyal, and he was down for the cause because he went through. It wasn't on the same level that Kaep did because he was able to come back and actually play, but he still held to his gun. He held to his guns too. You know what I'm saying? Because he was going through some of the same stuff Kaep was going through. But he hung in there, and he was basically Kaep's right hand man. So
right man for a good little minute.
Yeah. And that's probably
as well.
That's probably what Kaep was looking at too. He's like, where was you at when all this stuff went down at first?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, what did you like? To me, I would feel like it's some kind of ulterior motive almost if you're trying to hitch to my wagon now. Like, what is your motive for trying to be in contact with me now? Like, now that you're out of the NFL and you're looking for work, like, why do you want to attach yourself to my name? Like, you know what I'm saying? Give me, now you have to give me a good reason as why I should entertain you,
But it almost seems like some coon stuff, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does.
I just feel like it's like now you want to be an activist because your career ain't working out for you. Now you want to try to be down with Kaep, but your ass wasn't down with Kaep when he took a knee initially. Like, and was trying to get the NFL to change their ways back in the day. So why you want to contact him now? And some people can have a change of heart, but for him to do it in this manner, it's apparently an ulterior motive. It's not that he's doing it genuinely. He has some kind of initiative that he's trying to, trying to get across, so it seems fake. People can sense fake. Real recognize real at the end of the day.
I'm just tired of like these black folk that get out here and like they just feel as if like they gotta prove to like somebody, I ain't gonna say it's white folk, but prove to somebody that they so free thinking that they don't follow the rest of the crowd, and like they just feel like they gotta tear down other black folk. Like, bro, what who made you? Like whose man's is this? Like, for real? Like, man.
Yeah, Taco Bell. That's the biggest thing. It's like, why do we have to tear down our own people, bro? Like, it seems like we do that the most. We always want to, like, try to hate on our own. Like, for what? Like, especially somebody that's
police our own, and then
somebody that's doing something on the level that Kaepernick is doing, who is trying to change the direction of a league that is historically racist. Why are you trying to tear them down?
And and also if you look at it this way, it's kind of a level of egotism and a level of arrogance Because think about it. You know, if you listen to what he was saying, listen, I called him a couple times. He ain't called me. He ain't called me back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dog.
Who are you?
At the end of the day, who is you? This man got way bigger other things, other fish to fry. You know, other people that he's trying to meet with, probably more movers and shakers or people behind the scenes that are influential people that can get certain things done. Who are you in the grand scheme of things right there? And then he should stop everything and he gonna call you. Like you finna, you know what I'm saying? Like you finna move something, like you finna really move something for him. You know, you couldn't even move Jerry Jones enough to give you another job.
That's my boy. You
know
took the
what
words
I'm
out
saying?
my
But
mouth.
he's supposed to call you. But you know, and it speaks to, like, you know, like y'all was saying, a lot of times in our community, if you don't do something exactly like I want you to do it, now I'm finna come hate on you. If you don't jump when I say jump, you don't do it how I want you to do it, you don't say it exactly how I want you to say it. No. I can't get with that.
And it's a sense of entitlement too, you know what I'm saying, behind it. It's almost like because he believes that they was both NFL players, like, and he's a quote unquote star and Kaep is a star, like Kaep should contact him back, basically. I'm Dez Bryant. Why you ignore my calls? Like, nigga, nobody gives a fuck about what you got to say. Like, I mean, I know we trying to keep it PC, but I'm just being honest, bro. Authentic man, authentic conversations. Fuck Dez Bryant at the end of the day. I said what I said.
And there you have it, fellas. Ladies, gentlemen. If it's one thing that you've learned from this episode is know your role and shut your motherfucking mouth before you come out there and start trying to drop knowledge. Know what you're talking about before you start talking.
Raise the people.
Because we gonna tell you, don't drop the soap, don't drop the soap. Anyway, this has been episode 12 of They Gonna Feel Me. We appreciate you all for listening and staying this long. If you stayed this long, please drop a like. Comment below. Let us know what you want us to talk about. We got a couple future topics lined up. We want to know what you all want to hear us talk about on this show. We appreciate your feedback. We appreciate the likes, the comments, the shares, everything. So from your boy Chris, from Reese, from Bodyguard Rob, and the boy Al C, we appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. And come here. If you didn't feel us this time, I guarantee you're going to feel us the next. Peace.